All righty, we are recording now. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and mute your phone or your computer. And if you do have any questions, you're welcome to throw them in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute yourself. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Pat Atwell.
All right, welcome everybody. Appreciate you taking some time on a Tuesday evening to join us. I'll do some real basic introductions here to start with, so you know who from our athletic staff is with us. I'll go over a few details, some things we cover on visit days and things, and then it's really a Q&A. We're here to help you and help you have an understanding of Culver-Stockton and what the student athlete experience might be like. But I'll just go as I see people here. We've got Hunter Davis is our head track and field cross country coach. So Hunter just finished his first year with us and took a bunch of kids to nationals and did a great job for us. So Hunter's with us. Our newly minted finishing their first year cheer coach is with us, Caitlin Tate. So we're moving our cheer program from a sideline program to a competition program. So Caitlin's going through that with us and leading us down that road. So that's exciting for us. Our head women's lacrosse coach and our coordinator of student athlete experience is Caitlin Erickson. She's on here with us, and Caitlin, like 5-ish years now. How many years?
This will be 6.
6 years, yeah. So she's been with us, for at least half the time I've been at Culver. Coach Jeff Lipton's our men's volleyball coach. Coach Lipton just finished his 2nd year, so he's getting ready to go, and he's got a nice recruiting class coming in a really hard league we play in men's volleyball. Tyler Tomlinson's our head women's soccer coach. He's actually been at Culver longer than I have, and he's a young guy. He started when he was like 12, so it's actually pretty cool that he's been there that long. But he's an alumnus and then came back to coach our women's soccer. He was a professor in the communications area and still the adjuncts in that area. And he also does a lot with our webcast because in communication, he is the one that's kind of training our students to do the webcasts. And we're not all professionals, so it's a learning college, and we get kids in there to do play-by-play and color for all our games, and Tyler helps organize that for us. So we've got spring sports, winter sports, fall sports. We're pretty well covered here to answer a variety of questions for you. Again, I'm Pat Atwell. I've been here for 10 years at Culver-Stockton. Love working at Culver. I'll just go over some real quick things for you if you haven't heard these dates and things. Our fall move-in date is August 9th. So fall move-in would be football, men's and women's soccer, women's volleyball, men's and women's cross country, and cheer. Those groups will move in on Friday, August 9th. Usually we do football in the morning, everybody else in the afternoon. That's kind of how we typically do it. That's what I would anticipate. That's what we would do again. So that's a day. I don't know if we have any marching band people in here, but marching band is the 15th. That's when they come in, and everybody else comes in on the 22nd. But if you're a fall sport athlete, put a big star on the 9th. Coaches will give you more details. You get more details from them on those kind of things. Another thing we like to cover is what we call a healthy roster. If you haven't received an email from Rob Carmichael, our head trainer, you will. He gathers all the rosters from our teams, then sends an email to all. It'll come to your students. So it's important that you remind your students to check their Culver email, because they'll get a Culver email and need to check that. And that's where we get all our roster information. Usually it's after July 1st. You just follow the instructions, create an account, and we get things in there, all our forms in there. So the students will sign the forms that talk about, we can use their picture on our website, that medical release forms, drug testing forms, student athlete code of conduct forms, social media forms, lots of forms. And they sign those forms. We also, you need to have an insurance card. So you upload front and back of your insurance card on here. Everybody has to have insurance. If you don't have insurance, we can help them get insurance when they get up here, but you can't play without insurance. The medical history is a real big part, because our trainers need to know that history. If somebody is on medication or a variety of things, we need to know those things. That's what this is for. Also, if somebody were to get injured on the road, then we access this information to give a doctor on the road, or an emergency room on the road, or an urgent care on the road, the information about our students. And then physicals, you upload your physical form here. You get your physicals at home. You can use a physical form. There's probably one on there on the resources. There's a physical form, but also your physician, whatever you did in high school will probably work as well if they have a special form. So basically you get, and then we'll do the physicals from then on, but before you come as a new student, you get physicals and they must be done by a doctor or a DO. So, that's part of our healthy roster situation. You'll also get, not necessarily later, but you'll also get a bunch of immunization information from Angie's area from Student Affairs. That they're two separate things. So we get your medical history, immunizations go through Student Affairs, and they'll take care of that. You'll look through all those emails. The other things we really encourage is our student athletes to get extremely involved, and the coaches can touch on this too. We endorse them getting involved in fraternity and sorority life. We want them in student government. We're 72% of the student body and growing, so they should be resident assistants in the campus residence halls. They should have all kinds of leadership positions on campus because we're a bulk of the campus. So we expect them to get highly involved in a variety of areas along with their sports. It's important for them to get to know their professors, get to know people like me. We're all the people that will write the reference letters down the road. So why not get to know these people really well? I think that's important. For parents, I've had two kids go through college. I think, the biggest role you can play is to help them through the solving problem process when they start freaking out about something. Usually you can help if you're the calming influence, like, well, did you talk to so-and-so? And have you talked to so-and-so? That there's a pecking order. Have you talked to your coach? Your coach will probably know where to go or how to help. And have you talked to your RA? Your RA probably knows where to go and where to help. And it doesn't take much on the wrong day, to get somebody in full freak out mode. So the coaches try to be a calming influence. We try to tell them, hey, I don't know exactly, but I'll find out where we can get you help, and if you can assure them that we're all here to help, I'm here to help, we're all here to help. Usually their problem might not be as large as they think it is. So, that's kind of a big thing of what we do too, and where you can really help. I want to talk about converting athletic scholarships. I just want to go over that with you real quick. What we do, we have 605 athletes last year, 604. So we have a lot of athletes. So it'd be, ingenuous to think that 604 athletes or students are going to have the best experience in the world. So if we get students that love Culver, but maybe their sport wasn't quite what they thought it was, maybe that's just the time, maybe they found something else, maybe they're in a major that's really demanding, maybe they want to take two majors and they just think, well, two majors, I don't know, I thought I would love this sport, but I like this sport, but I don't know that I love it, but I really like my friends and I like Culver-Stockton. We convert an athletic scholarship to what we call like a Culver grant. So we do that at our average. So if somebody's getting a huge athletic scholarship, we don't convert that at the full amount. We convert that at the average amount. So anything up to the average, we just convert it. Conversation with me, we write an email to Director of Financial Aid and myself, talk to the coach, talk to me, and we understand it. And every year there's probably 20 to 25 students that do this out of our 600. And we're thrilled that they stay at Culver, and we understand that there are other things they might love. So if your student calls like, oh my God, I thought I loved this sport, but there's just other things I'm doing, but I can't stay at Culver because I can't lose my athletic scholarship. Well, you don't necessarily lose your athletic scholarship unless it's a high one, then you're going to lose some of it, but we do convert it. So we hope they all have a great experience. I just wanted you to know that's a possibility if there's things they want to be at Culver, but at this point in their life, they don't necessarily know. And it might be year 2. It might be year 3. You never know when it might be. It might be the first week. You don't know. And hopefully they all graduate and love their sport, but they might not. So just being real, that's kind of how we handle it. You do get admission to athletic events. So if we get a ticketing system, we'll make sure you get that. Worst case scenario, it's the old fashioned pass list. We'll have a name on a list. You come in, but we don't expect you to pay. You get 2 free admissions. We don't expect, mom and dad to pay for admission to an athletic event. So make sure your students, that you ask them like, hey, if again, either you'll get something to our ticketing system. If we get a ticketing partner last year, we didn't have a really good online ticketing partner. So we just went the old fashioned way with a, physically give tickets that you can keep all year. You'd like the first game, you could pick them up at the pass gate and then you have them for the year or your name on a pass list, but 2 free admissions to each home event. other family and friends can get tickets at the gate, or with a ticketing partner, as I've talked about. And that's a little bit of just the basics, College 101 at Culver. So I'll I'll just look here, Tyler is the senior coach on here. Is there anything that you'd like to add there to that cluster?
Yeah, I mean the like you said earlier, streaming games is something that we take a lot of pride in as far as getting those games broadcasted, especially at home games. Obviously, we don't have a lot of control over when there are road games, but honestly, most of our conference schools and even some of our non-conference opponents all stream their games. Some might have like a paywall. It's becoming less and less, so that's good. But all of ours are free. And like Pat said, we have students that do that for us. And so, be nice to them. They have a lot of enthusiasm, but they're not all Tony Romo. So with that, we're happy to get all those games. So if you're a parent and seeing your kid play is an important aspect of your life, then we're still going to provide that for you and get that going. So no, we're excited for the upcoming school year and getting everybody on campus and comfortable and just I think important things is to always communicate with your coaches, let them know what you're thinking and how things are going, and make sure you have those connections as touch points to get things started and don't be afraid to drive that comfortability factor with your coaches. I think that's an important part of the process. But yet, enjoy the experience, and we're happy to get everybody here.
Caitlin, I'll bounce to you as the, coordinator student athlete experience. You've got kind of a veteran now at Culver-Stockton. Anything you'd like to share with the parents from your point of view?
I think, what Tyler was saying is encourage your students to create great relationships with your coaches, because we're all here to support your kids and do whatever we need to make sure that they feel welcome and feel like family and feel like they have somebody to talk to, someone to voice what's going on. So encourage those relationships and, yeah, we're really excited about this year. I know we have a big recruiting class for a lot of our sports, and currently brainstorming this summer some ideas for our kids, our student athletes to have some more camaraderie and have more exciting things to look forward to. So hopefully we can get you guys in the loop on that.
And again, you'll probably get a homesick call. Like I said, most everybody, whether they live close by or a long way away, they're a little homesick, and I remember myself going through, seeing my parents drive away 6 hours from where I was going to college, and that was a pretty odd feeling. And, I survived. And as a coach, I've mentored a lot of kids through homesickness, and usually how mom or parent or guardian or whoever the student calls, their reaction goes a long way to how they handle it, and they just have to understand everything's new, and it's kind of uncomfortable when it's new. Uncomfortable is not easy. So you guys helping them work through that is a big deal. And I remember kids crying in my office, as a freshman baseball player when I was coaching baseball, and he missed his girlfriend, and he was 11 hours from home, and he wanted to go. And I just said, hey, stay until baseball season. This was the fall. And finally he did. He stayed till baseball season, and he was pretty happy. He did, because, several years later, he won a World Series with the Cardinals, and he's running around with a World Series ring. And, but as an 18-year-old kid, he was crying in my office, missing his girlfriend. So it happens to almost everybody in some way, shape, or form that they miss home. So be prepared for that call. And you're going to miss them too, because I've been on the other side and seen my wife in tears when we dropped our kids off. Actually, more my daughter than my son. She was happy to drop my son off. So he'd love that. But she was pretty teary eyed, and so I've seen both sides of it. It's not easy because you love them. But we'll care for them fairly well on our side too. We take care of them and hold them responsible for what they do and stuff. But it's all part of it. They're 18 to 22, and we know they'll make great decisions, some not so great decisions, and we're here to help them through all of it. So, coaches, anything else any of y'all want to say before I'll just open it up to any questions you want to throw in the chat, or just talk about straight up, ask me, ask any of the coaches. Do student athletes typically get paired with other athletes in housing? I think there's now a housing, Angie's on here in the background, but I think we have a housing system where they can choose online. Angie, do you want to grab this one? But we're kind of
Yeah.
upgraded to 2024. It's exciting for us.
Yeah, we're really excited about our new housing software. Some information actually, I believe, will be going out to your students tomorrow about housing. We are going to need for your students, unfortunately, they're going to have to do their housing profile again. We apologize for that. We really thought it could be transferred over from when they did their Form B before, but it's super short. Should take them less than 10 minutes to do. And then we'll kind of take it from there. But Coach Frank, our coordinator of residence life, I think he'll be working with the coaches and working with the students to really work through this new process with this new software on how to match up the athletes with other athletes. It really does, in my opinion, it varies from sport to sport. I always recommend, especially for those fall athletes that move in early, it's really important for them to live with their teammates. My biggest fear is, a soccer player moving in August, and, they didn't select another soccer player, and then they're by themselves for the first few weeks in August, and that's not good. So we definitely want to try and get them living together. But we'll definitely work with the coaches and work with the student athletes on how this new process will look.
Thanks, Andy. I also saw a note, when will the schedule be posted? The fall ones, I believe, are on our athletic websites, cscwildcats.com. So football, soccer, women's volleyball. Today we just got the final softball schedule. So, and I sent them over to our sports information director. So I would expect, he kind of does them sequentially. He'll get the basketball ones up and as they're all locked in, and the spring ones as they're locked in. If you send me an email, patwell@culver.edu, I have like the league schedules. I don't necessarily have all the non-league schedules yet. I don't know who baseball's playing non-league, but the coaches have most of them. So we can get you a schedule if you want to schedule for a sport that's not listed, fall, winter, or I know Jeff has his schedule. It just got finalized with men's volleyball. So we can get those to you, and the fall ones are finally up. So because we just locked those in. Can you give some insight on the NAI fee? I don't remember a fee like that with the NCAA. One of the coaches, do you want to talk about the clearinghouse and the, NAI, how that works for the students and the fee? Do one of you two guys want to cover that work with it on a day-to-day basis? Anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, so the NAIA clearinghouse, all of our athletes are going to have to go through that. There is a fee for that. It's a one-time fee, and they're determining your eligibility to make sure that ultimately, that your student is an amateur and they weren't playing professionally is one of the big reasons to do that. Also, they have to go through with their grades. So they do need to send transcripts to the NAIA Eligibility Center. I'm pretty sure if you would go through the NCAA clearinghouse, it would also be the same thing. There is a fee and they do the exact same thing. So that is pretty much college athletics across the board. But that's an important process. Your kids do have to be determined eligible through NAIA before they play a game.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. I mean, we can look at a transcript, but I can see a kid with a 3.96 and they're, fourth in their class. And if they took the ACT, it was great. And we can't make them eligible. The NAI clearinghouse has to make them eligible. So that's a big part of it to get in there. And if you're struggling with it, you can give a call. Your coach can help, or Tracy Bringer, our administrative assistant, she can help. And again, you can hit me up and I can get you to the right person, and I can help a little, but there's other people that know a lot more about that than I do actually. Oh, here's a good one. Which sport's the highest revenue generating for Culver-Stockton? actual or budget. I mean, football by a landslide because there's so many kids on the team. So, the tuition revenue we generate off football, even though it's an expensive sport, because, shoulder pads and helmets are expensive, but, football just in itself is generating $1.5 million, easy, and tuition revenue after expenses. I mean, it makes a lot of, that's why at small colleges, once you have it, it's hard to ever not have it. So yeah, it's a sport that, and we all at the NAI level, most sports generate revenue. Honestly, that's part of a small college. Some just generate a little bit more. The larger the roster, probably the more revenue it's generating. But one of the reasons a lot of small privates have a variety of sports is because students still want to come to college and play sports, and it is helpful for the college. So, but it would be football. Anything that fall athletes need to do to check in after moving in on the 9th. Well, you'll have your real orientation will go on, 2 weeks basically after you move in. So there'll be a lot of college related things, 2 weeks after that 9th, on the 20, what would that be? The 23rd, I guess, 9th, 16th, 23rd. So that point on, there'll be a lot of orientation things going on, but fall sport, anything, I can't think of a lot of, I mean, they check in, at check-in, they'll be handling, they'll talk to financial aid, they'll talk to housing. So it's like a mini regular check-in. You'll just be doing more things when orientation rolls around 2 weeks later. Angie or Tyler, to miss anything there anybody can think of on the check-in process?
Yeah, I mean, they'll still have the exact same check-in process as like our other new freshmen will. 2 weeks later, we'll still have all of the offices there ready to take care of them, to get their student ID, to get their, like Pat said, their financial aid, the business office, they'll all be there. It's just the other orientation activities that will occur 2 weeks later, like all of the, the big fun, woohoo, we're happy you're here. We got all the fun activities and all the just getting you prepared for those first day of classes activities. Those will happen right before classes start.
Point of contact for volleyball. Yes, we're between volleyball coaches. Our coach resigned and took an assistant position. Just to kind of keep developing in the game. So I would be the point of contact right now. We have a graduate assistant, and she's not really working in the summertime. So it would be me. And I've got Coach Lipton, who's the men's volleyball coach, that can help me if I need things along that line as well. But it would be me to answer questions, and then as we're going through the search process, any incoming students for volleyball will be included in any like Zoom interviews with coaches. If we're doing Zoom interviews with coaches, like if we have a coach on campus, we'll Zoom with current students, and all incoming students will have them as part of that process. So still gathering resumes and hoping to get a really good person to lead our women's volleyball program. But if you have questions, you can just reach out directly to me right now. Question about the NAI clearinghouse. If they've done it for Division I, do they need to do it again for NAI? Yes, NAI's, that's just the NAI. Anytime you change organizations, you'll have to do it again. So the NAI is going to want you to go through the NAI, even if you were a Division I student athlete. When there are breaks, do athletes have to go home as well? Also, what do a lot of students who are further away do with their belongings during breaks? So when there are breaks, it depends on the break. And it depends on the sport. So if your sport's competing, then you don't go home. You're with your sport. If it's spring break and you're a baseball, lacrosse, softball, whatever else is going on, player, men's volleyball, you don't go home. If it's Thanksgiving and you're playing basketball, no, you're not going home because it's Thanksgiving. You might go home for a day. The coaches are pretty great about working in, around Thanksgiving to get people home. But again, if you live a long way away, you might not go home. You fly home for a day or two if you're coming back for practice. So a lot of times then you'd be with a friend, friend have you over for Thanksgiving or a variety of things like that. So it depends on the breaks. When we totally close, like Christmas, then then we're pretty strict at Christmas. Like, hey, you're around for Christmas if you're on the basketball team, on their schedule, or if Jeff brings the men's volleyball team back. But with their belongings, I think some of them, find friends they store with. I think some of them on long breaks are in various offices. I know coaches have kept things. I've looked in the corner of a coach's office and seen things with a refrigerator. I mean, a variety of things. And coaches or Angie, if you want to cover a little bit of that with their belongings over, I guess that's probably summer break, because in regular breaks, they just keep them in their room because their room's their room. You know, they come back to the room after Christmas break or whatever. But summer, you know, if they don't want to take everything at home, they kind of have to find some place. But again, I have seen offices that have had some things in them over the years with
If
students,
if
especially
I
students
could
from a long way away.
if
Yeah.
I could just add into that, I know that a number of my players got together and rented a storage unit in Quincy. So
Oh, they just
that,
all put in, got a storage unit?
yeah, a bunch of them did that, which cuts down the cost of the rental unit per month per person, and then they can just store all of their bigger things that they don't want to lug home, and then all they do is just go pick it up when they move in, and it probably saves a lot of time and a lot of effort in terms of the moving process. So I would say that for freshmen, over the course of the time that you're here, as you get to know people on your team or you have friends, you know, that's one of the options you have, is to rent a small, you know, storage unit and then just throw things that you don't really need to bring home there, and then, you know, you have them there when you get back.
Yeah, some other options for storage are fraternities. They have attics. And so oftentimes the fraternity members will store their items in the attics. We have continued to try and identify storage options for our students. So that is something that I'm continuing to work on. But I can tell you, I've stored students' things in my garage. You know, I do know other, you know, faculty and staff that, like Pat said, will have things in their offices and in their garage. So we'll definitely do all that we can to try and make certain that we can get their items stored for them.
Is there a bowling team? There are men's and women's bowling teams. The coach is Derek Sapp, so he could be contacted at D, like David, Derek, D, Sapp, S-A-P-P, at culver.edu. We're all at culver.edu. And not a, thank you, Angie, and not a huge squad, you know, I mean, so there's room on that team for people to bowl. If their passion is bowling, there's probably 7 on average on those teams, you know, somewhere 6, 8. We've been to 10 or so, but I think right now they're more in that 6 to 8 range. So there's room on those teams for another bowler. So yeah. Football, does football team have an engaged booster club? Extremely so. The parents run that. So there's a parent leader. When Coach Sally, I'm sure, works with the parent of the booster, the parent booster club, and very engaged. They do a lot. They feed the teams after every game. After every game, there's a huge spread, either down on a nice day outside, you'll see them, or, you know, if it's a little colder, they'll be outside my office and, you know, feeding the kids. And it's a very active booster club and they do a great job. So they're at home and away games. And you'll get something from the leader of that booster club, and one of the football coaches will kind of handle that on that end. But there is a very engaged booster club for the football team. Any other verbal or chat room questions? It's been great. I mean, you've asked really, really good questions. And again, you know, I mean, a lot of us have done this for quite a while, so we have a pretty good feel for how it's going. Our league is really good, and it's really good in a lot of sports. I mean, for example, I think men's soccer, we had 3 different teams win the national championship over a 4-year period, which that's almost unheard of. Not that a league couldn't have a team win the national championship 3 out of 4 years, but it's usually 1 team, maybe 2, not 3. You know, that's almost unheard of. So men's volleyball, I mean, shoot, we had, if there's a top 10, we're usually about half of it. It's all, I mean, the sports are really good. And it makes it exciting because if you come watch competition, it's pretty good competition. So, you know, we're excited about that and excited to have your children joining us. So both the women and men's bowling teams, but for sure, if you're, I see this, if your students want to bowl, there are options. Contact Coach Sapp immediately, because, you'd like to have 10 and each team, honestly, in the bowling program. So you kind of had, sometimes they'll be able to take 2 teams to a tournament, but I know we're more in the, hovering in that 6 to 8 world. So there's definitely room. All right, coaches, you got anything you'd like to add? Hunter, you haven't said anything. Hunter transferred into us from Iowa Wesleyan. Our track coach did a great job. So it's been his first year. Anything you want to, and Hunter was also a sports information director, so he's got a great handle on that end of it too. But Hunter, anything that you wanna add?
Yeah, no, I just want to reiterate what Pat said at the very beginning. Getting involved is a huge thing on campus. Not only does that help your student athlete get more involved and get to know people outside of their sport, but it also helps create the atmosphere that we have at our home events. We have a lot of good home event atmosphere because of that, because we have people that want to watch their brothers or their sisters from the sorority and fraternities at the games, events, everything like that. We put on a track meet. This year is April 20th, and it requires over 100 volunteers, and the frats alone pretty much helped us out. So it's pretty awesome when people get involved. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved. You can get involved with Coach Tomlinson and that side of things as well too, when it comes to sports media, which is what my major was in college. So that's why I have a passion for sports. So no, there's a ton of things, but that's really what I wanted to reiterate, Pat, was, getting involved early is something huge for student athletes on campus here.
Yeah, I totally agree. We endorse it. I mean, it's absolutely crucial. And I always tell them, just like Hunter said, if you want fans to your game, well, go make some friends. I mean, you don't always sit with the same 2 people in the cafeteria. Go make some friends. It gets fans at your games. Yeah. So Angie just put homecoming and family weekend. Angie, that is little mid to late September, maybe. Yeah, September 25th and 26th. So family weekend, September 25 and 26. Homecoming a month later, weekend of October 26th. Homecoming is a pretty big deal at Culver. A lot of people come back. We have a nice parade. It's the cheerleaders do a great job. They're always part of the parade and everything, but it's those are really good dates, for if you're planning ahead, like, okay, good. I can, we got these dates in September, and then in October, they're coming up that they can come join us. Anything else? We appreciate y'all. Appreciate you taking the time to get on and join us tonight. Caitlin, you got anything? You're a cheer coach. You're always excited, right? I mean, you got anything to add?
I would just say, along with getting involved, come and cheer for the cheerleaders, because we're cheering for everyone else's team and we need people in the crowd to actually yell with us. We're working on that last year, but this year we really would like people to actually get involved with us and try and help raise spirit at the games, or get involved in our dress up days, or if we do anything at games, just really come help us so we can get the football, the basketball, and other teams going and get some wins this year.
I'm always
Let's go,
doing
Coach
the jumps
Caitlin.
with
Lead
you.
us in a cheer.
What was that?
No, I'm not doing a cheer right now. No.
I always mentally do the jumps with you, but I always mentally get hurt. So, I just think it's really, I know my limitations. So I don't.
I mean, Coach Sally tells me he has some really pretty jumps, and I have not seen them yet. So I'm really hoping he'll pull one out at a game one day.
Well, the last time Coach Sally jumped, he absolutely
his
shattered his knee,
ACL wouldn't
every
agree with
ligament in
that.
his knee. So he probably is exaggerating his jumping ability. It's just my scouting report. I don't know how the rest of the coaches feel, but I think that's my scouting report. I think young Coach Sally, yes, I would agree with that. Current Coach Sally, I don't know. All right, there's my cat. Hi, cat. Good to see you.
I just wanted to circle back on the NAIA, getting through that. If somebody hasn't already started that, you need to get on it right away, because if you want to be eligible to play in the fall, you don't want to have any issues that come up where they need more information about grades or tests or anything like that, because your certification for eligibility will hold up your ability to play in competition. And on top of that, every semester a player is at Culver. Every semester a team is recertified for play. So getting it right the first time and getting it done early is maybe one of the other most important things that needs to happen if you're going to play a sport in college, at least in the NAIA.
All right. Well, I think if there's nothing else, that kind of wraps it up. We appreciate y'all, and I mean, we'll see you before you know it. We'll August 9th, we'll get here pretty quick for the fall sport athletes, and we look forward to having you at Culver-Stockton. And I'll say too, our professors are great working with our student athletes. We have a lot of student athletes, so they're really, really good at working with our student athletes, and it's imperative of your students to communicate with them on games and stuff. And we do everything we can to not miss class, but some sports are just going to miss class now and then because of when the schedule dictates that you play. So, but our faculty is great; they work really, really well with us. But is there an early visiting period? Early visiting like over the summer? Can you come visit? Is that question? I think if you get a hold of admissions, you can come visit almost any time in the summer. Absolutely. They're here to help with that. The coaches, will try to help with that too around, what they're doing. But yeah, people can definitely come and visit over the summer. Probably not on Sundays, but I'm not sure if does admission do Saturdays in the summers? Coaches, do you know? Probably not. So weekdays, but yeah, I'd say we'd love to have you come visit. Stop by, say hi. We'll show you around a little bit, and it's a gorgeous place. It's one of the most beautiful campuses there is. So come visit. All right. Well, I think that probably does it, Angie, on our end. So I appreciate you all. Thanks for getting on tonight. And we'll see you soon. So thank you much.
Thank you.